All right, let's dive into this discussion about Arrival you sent.
Okay.
Yeah, this is great. It's not like an academic paper or anything. It's just a really interesting conversation that you found.
Yeah, a bunch of different people kind of debating back and forth about the themes in the film.
Exactly. And we're going to try to pick out some of the best insights from it. Arrival, it's got a lot going on.
Oh, yeah,
We're talking alien contact and communication.
time perception even.
Yeah, big questions about free will. So to start off, the movie drops us right into the action with these 12 alien ships.
Just appearing out of nowhere.
Yeah, all over the globe.
Yeah.
And of course,
It causes a bit of a stir.
just a little bit. I mean, the discussion brings up this analogy of showing up at someone's house, casually.
Yeah, for a friendly visit.
Right. But you bring like a whole squad of intimidating bodyguards with you.
Not exactly the best way to make a first impression.
Not at all. So the discussion kind of gets into whether the movie relies too much on fear as like the initial human response.
Yeah, like maybe there's this missed opportunity to explore some other reactions. Curiosity, maybe.
Right. Or even a genuine desire to understand these beings. Instead of jumping straight to the whole alien invasion trope.
Exactly.
Hmm.
There's this point made about how when radio waves were first discovered, some people saw it as a potential threat too.
Interesting.
But then others saw them as this like amazing new way to communicate and understand the universe.
Okay, so that brings us to the whole communication challenge in the film. How do they even begin to understand each other?
Well, that's where things get really fascinating. The discussion points out how complex the alien language is.
Yeah.
These visual symbols they use, these circles.
Yeah, it's not just about deciphering an alien alphabet. It's like a whole different way of conceptualizing reality.
Exactly. The discussion even compares it to trying to decipher ancient texts, like the Voynich manuscript.
Which is still a mystery, right?
Yeah, pretty much. But here's the big difference. The aliens in Arrival, they're actively involved. They're giving Louise the linguist more and more information as she needs it.
So they're actually teaching her.
Exactly. And some argue that that's a key part of what makes the film so compelling. It's not just humans trying to crack a code, but a genuine attempt at two-way communication.
It makes you wonder why there's still so much distrust and fear from world leaders.
Right, that's a point the discussion really digs into. It questions whether the film fully explores the impact of knowledge on our perception of threat.
Yeah, at first there's this sense of awe, right? You see these incredible ships and this advanced technology.
Yeah, but then it seems to shift really quickly towards fear as they learn more.
So is the film saying that knowledge always leads to fear, or is there a more nuanced message about how we choose to react to the unknown?
That's a great question to ponder as we keep going.
Okay, I'm ready for more.
Great, because the film doesn't stop there. It throws in another layer, this concept of time and dimensionality.
Oh boy, my brain is ready.
Buckle up. It's about to get even more mind-bending. Welcome back. So we were just talking about how Arrival takes this turn into the whole concept of time and how these aliens experience it.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the most mind-bending parts of the film. So how does the film actually show us this alien perception of time?
Well, the discussion points out that the film uses the alien language itself, those complex circles they communicate with.
Right, they seemed so abstract and almost impossible to understand.
Exactly, and that's the point the source material argues. The film is hinting that these symbols aren't just a different way of writing, but a completely different way of experiencing reality, instead of this linear past, present, future kind of flow.
You mean they see it all at once?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The discussion even uses this analogy of a tapestry. Humans, we experience time like we're tracing a single thread through it. We only see one small part at a time.
Okay, I get it. But the aliens see the whole tapestry.
The whole thing, past, present, future, all together.
Wow. That's really hard to wrap my head around, but how does that actually affect what happens in the film?
Well, that's where the debate in the source material gets really interesting. One of the big points is that the aliens' purpose is to give humans their language, this gift of seeing time like they do.
But it's also a warning, right? Like Louise starts having these visions of the future, including a tragic one about her own daughter.
Exactly. And that's where things get really philosophical.
Yeah.
The source material dives into this whole paradox of free will. If Louise can see the future, does that mean it's fixed? Can she change it?
It's like that classic time travel dilemma. If you go back in time and change something, did you always do that, or did you create a whole new timeline?
Right. And Arrival doesn't give us a simple answer. The discussion highlights that pivotal scene where Louise uses knowledge from her future to prevent an attack on the aliens.
So she changes the present based on information from the future.
Yeah, and that's what the source material calls a closed loop. Cause and effect become intertwined. It's like the chicken and the egg. Which came first?
So it's not just the aliens who experience time differently. Are you saying we might be stuck in these loops too?
That's one of the big questions the discussion raises.
Right.
Maybe our understanding of time is totally flawed. Maybe it's not just a straight line.
Okay, so my head is officially spinning. But what about Louise? How does she deal with knowing her future, especially knowing her daughter will die young?
That's where the film gets really emotional. The discussion focuses on how Louise chooses to have her daughter anyway, even though she knows the tragedy that's coming.
That seems like such a heartbreaking decision, knowing what's going to happen.
And the source material really digs into the different interpretations. Some argue it reinforces this idea of a predetermined fate, that even knowing the future doesn't change anything.
So we're all just puppets then?
Well, not necessarily.
Mm.
Another interpretation is that Louise's choice shows the power of acceptance, the power to embrace life's joys and sorrows, even when we can't control the outcome.
It's about the journey, not just the destination.
Exactly. And the source material connects that to some philosophical ideas about time that were popular when the film came out. It's not about passive acceptance, but actively choosing how we live within the boundaries of our existence.
That's a really powerful way to look at it. But I still wonder if I could see my own future. Would I want to? Would it make my life better or just trap me?
Those are questions everyone has to grapple with. And what's brilliant about Arrival is that it doesn't give us easy answers. It forces us to rethink our own assumptions about time, free will, and what gives our lives meaning.
Okay, so we're back for the final part of our Arrival deep dive. It's been a wild ride thinking about all these big ideas.
Definitely. It really makes you question
Oh, yeah.
everything you thought you knew.
Yeah, and this discussion you sent really digs into how the film uses all this to explore what it means to be human, in the face of the unknown.
Absolutely. And one of the key points the discussion makes is about the power of language.
Hmm.
It's not just about communication.
Right, it's like it shapes how we see the world.
Exactly. There's even a quote from this linguist, Benjamin Lee Whorf. He argued that the language we speak actually influences how we think.
So different languages create different realities.
It's a mind-blowing concept. The source material connects this to how the film portrays the alien language, those spatial vector symbols.
Yeah, those are so strange.
Right. The discussion suggests that by learning that language, Louise isn't just learning new words. She's adopting a whole new way of seeing reality.
So it's like she can actually experience time like the aliens do.
Exactly. And it raises this question. What if all languages, even human languages, shape our perception in ways we don't even realize?
Like, do different languages create different realities?
That's what the film seems to be suggesting. And the source material really digs into that idea. It argues that Arrival pushes this concept to the extreme by showing a language that actually changes how you perceive time.
It makes you wonder what other ways of seeing the world we're missing out on because of the limitations of our own languages.
Yeah, that's a really important point, especially today, when communication and understanding across cultures is so crucial.
The film is kind of a reminder that communication is about more than just words.
It's about empathy, trying to see the world from another perspective.
And that brings us back to that whole fear versus understanding thing.
Right. If we'd reacted to the aliens with just fear and aggression instead of trying to communicate, who knows what would have happened?
It could have been a disaster. And the discussion emphasizes how the film critiques that knee-jerk reaction to the unknown, that tendency to let fear control us.
And that's a message that feels really relevant right now, don't you think?
Absolutely. It's like a reminder to be open-minded, to try to understand before we judge or react.
Exactly. True understanding takes patience and a willingness to bridge those gaps between different perspectives.
And then there's Louise's choice to have her daughter even knowing what's going to happen to her.
That decision really sparked a lot of debate, didn't it?
Yeah, some people see it as giving in to fate, while others see it as a celebration of life, even with all the sorrow it brings.
Right, and the source material dives into both sides of that argument. One interpretation is that it shows the limits of free will. Even with knowledge of the future, she can't escape what's going to happen.
That's a pretty bleak outlook.
Yeah, but the discussion also offers a more nuanced perspective. Maybe it's not saying we're trapped by fate, but that we can choose how we experience life within those boundaries.
So it's not about controlling the outcome, it's about how we face the journey with all the ups and downs.
Exactly. And that's something that resonates beyond the film. It reminds us that even when things are tough, we still have the power to choose how we live and how we love.
Wow. This has been an amazing deep dive. It feels like we've covered so much alien contact language. Time, free will. And in the end, what it means to be human.
Yeah, Arrival really pushes you to Think about all those big questions.
It's a reminder that even in the face of the vastness of space and time, it's our human connections that really matter.
Beautifully said.
Okay.
And that, I think, is the power of great storytelling. It makes us think, feel, and ultimately understand ourselves and our place in the universe a little bit better.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this journey. And we'll see you next time for another deep dive into the world of ideas and insights.